Alright, so this is me, the Margarita Kid, trying to play a game of Valheim. That's going to be a solo, hopefully no death run, no portals, no maps. So I'm going to have to create a new character. Let's see. I'll be able to see him easily, although he's going to... Let's see, we'll give him a long braid. Yeah, we'll go with the long braid. Oh, gathered braids. Yeah, there we go. Beard. He's a Viking. He's got to have a beard. Yeah, there we go. Lots of braids on the beards and on the hair. I like his hair. Blonder, because Vikings are always blonde, as we all know. And what is his name going to be? I haven't thought about this far. What shall we call our Viking? I don't want to call him Ragnar or anything like that. Let's just call him Margarita Kid. Why not? Okay, there he is. That's the start. Start a new one. So this is where I need to create a new world. Let's call it No Death, No Glory. No, that doesn't sound right. No Death, no Portal, no Dice. That's as far as I can go. Let's go No Death, No Portal. No map actually works. The seed, I'll take the random seed. And let's look at the world modifiers. So I'm going to keep the combat at normal for now. The death penalty, it's going to be no death. So I'm just going to say hardcore, I lose everything. This is fundamentally kills you. Resource rate, I'm actually going to up this a little bit. I've seen people talk about this, and there's a lot of reasons why you do this. And fundamentally, it just makes the game go a little bit faster. You don't have to spend a bunch of time farming and mining things, cutting down trees, which sometimes can be fun, but if I'm doing it solo, it's not something I want to do every day. So I'm going to give it full resource multipliers. Raid rates, normals, portals, no. Well, I'm going to do no portals. Oh, all items. I think I want to go the other way. No portals. I don't want passive enemies, player wizards. No map. So I think that's what I want. Right. Okay, so I think I basically probably just reproduced immersive. No map, no portals. Other difficulty settings are normal. Fundamentally, they were all normal, except for these couple here. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and start the game. Now, I think I've played a couple games of Valheim, but I only did it once where I started from the beginning myself, to my knowledge, where I had the Raven fly me in like is about to happen. If you've never watched Valheim before, so you're fundamentally a Viking that's exploring a new world. There's some considerations as to why this is happening. I don't know if you're supposed to be dead and this is kind of like a step to Valhalla, or what exactly is going on where you start off with this raven, no objects on you, nothing, you're just flying over this unexplored land. You get dropped off, and then it becomes kind of a resource management game. Partial combat, partial building. Here we get the opening. Long ago, the Allfather Odin united the worlds. He threw down his foes and cast them into the 10th world, then split the boughs which held their prison to the world tree and left it to drift unanchored, a place of exile. For centuries this world slumbered uneasily, but it did not die. As glacial ages passed, kingdoms rose and fell out of sight of the gods. When Odin heard his enemies were growing once again in strength, he looked to Midgard and sent his Valkyries to scour the battlefields for the greatest of their warriors. Dead to the world, they would be born again in Valheim. So it sounds to me like you may be a great warrior who was dead. You've been brought back from Odin and brought to Valheim, which is where Odin's enemies... This is kind of loud. At least in my headphones it is. Kind of dial it up. So, this is me. There's the giant raven who's going to try and give me hints every now and then, but I don't think I need them. I can't tell if I'm flying over water. You always fly in this awful storm. But you have nothing. It is eventually just going to drop me. I'll have very little health, very little stamina. And what you need to do is get food. First you have to gather it, eventually you can start farming it, building it, cooking it, lots of different things, but I start off in this circle. And so this up here is my status of wet in the upper right corner. I apparently have a torch. Right here. I have 25 health, no items, and stamina. I start off with 50, it looks like. And so this is what's called a Vegzir Eikthyr. So that's going to give me the location of Eikthyr, who is the first boss that you have to kill. So each one of these stones represents a boss that you have to kill. I don't remember if these are in order or not. I think they are. Yeah, they're totally in order. And so when I click this, it's going to put a location on my map for Eikthyr. Now, if you remember, I don't have a map. So what you notice, if I click this E here, the world is going to rotate. And the direction that the screen is now facing is the direction where Eikthyr is going to be, the closest one. And if I read the sacrificial stone here, it's going to start off with some kind of a Norse script. I don't know if it's really saying anything or not. His antlers are branches of iron. They crack the rocks and bring down mountains. His hooves are the sound of thunder. His voice a howling gale. So Eikthyr is a giant kind of deer creature that shoots lightning. What you ultimately have to do Eikthyr is I have to gather a bunch of deer head trophies and go to the location that this thing is kind of pointing me at. I have to remember where the circle is. And then once I get there, I sacrifice these deer heads. This giant thing appears. I hopefully kill it without dying. And then once I'm done with that, I will get some kind of an item that will help me in the next biome. So right now I'm in what's called the Meadows. This is by far the chillest kind of area. Not a lot of bad guys. I pick up some branches. I need wood. I need stone. Normally when there's a branch here and I click it, you just get one. Now I'm going to be getting 3 because I turned out that 3x multiplier. And so this is very good for me. And so I'm going to open my crafting menu over here, and I'm going to create a hammer. Now the hammer is like kind of the most basic thing that you want, because this allows you to build all kinds of stuff. Every time you get a new item that allows you to do things, it's going to give you little things up in the corner of the screen that are telling you what you can actually build with that item. So I've got some stone, I've got some wood, they've given me some rags. That's not a lot of stuff, so one of the very first things you of course have to do is some resource gathering. Now, in the skills menu, you have a few things here. They give you some idea of things that you haven't done yet, but you probably will. But as you start getting new things, more and more skills are going to be added to this menu. So for instance, I have jump, run, axes, blocking, swords. If I were to create a club, I don't have enough wood to do that, but if I were to create a club, I would actually now have a skill for club. Oh, see, I have a skill for clubs. Was that there before, or did that just happen because I clicked on club? Maybe it's just because I clicked on club. In any case, the red is showing your progression towards the next level. So I'm going to close out of it, jumped, and so now you can see that I finally got to level 1. You see this little orange bar, or yellow, and that's going to be sliding across as I progress. And so each of these can go up to 100, but each of these levels progressively gets harder and harder to achieve. I think most of the game they said is balanced. Like when you get to the end around level 40 or 50, somewhere in that range, So if you die, normally you lose levels, which makes dying really stink. Doesn't really matter for me because I'm playing a no-death run, so if I die, that's pretty much it for me. So I do not want to die. What I need to do is gather some resources. So to start off with, and each of those things, those skills that I was just talking about, like jumping, as you go up in skill, I think you can jump higher. As you go up in running skill, I think you can maybe run longer. So when I start running, you see my little stamina meter down at the bottom, the yellow thing, it's going down, 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 down. And all of a sudden, it's at nothing. And now I'm going slow. But there are some raspberries I can pick up. And I saw some mushrooms over here. So these are things that I can both eat and use to make other things potentially. At the moment, I don't have any way to really use these other than just eating them. So it's important to note when I click here, you can see it says a health of 15 and a stamina of 15, current 25 and 50. So if I eat one, now it's showing that my current is 40 and health 65 stamina. You look at the lower left corner, you can see the little mushroom saying I've got 15 minutes worth of mushroom in me. That's real time. And as those get counted down, the effect that it have is going to go slightly down over time. You can see that my health is only at 27. Health takes a while to get up to that level that you're going to be able. You can see it kind of going up over time. The stamina is almost instant. So you can see that I jumped. It takes 10 stamina. I went from 65 to 55. I can't eat another mushroom. You can only have one of each at a time, and you can only ever have 3 foods. So I'm also going to eat the raspberry, which gives me a health of 7 and a stamina of 20. So the mushroom is pretty balanced. Same health, same stamina. Raspberry's a stamina food, we would call it. All right, it lasts a little bit less time. But now things are a little bit safer for me. If I run into some creature that's going to kind of fight me, I've got a lot more health than I did, and my stamina's a lot higher as well, so I can run. And when I do things like fight creatures, I will use up stamina as well. Now, at the moment, I don't really have anything to fight with, so I'm really hoping I don't run into anything. There's 2 types of creatures that you might run into. There's what you would think of as a normal type of, creature in the wild, like deer, which won't attack you. You can see some over there. There are some boars. I don't see any over there. But then there's also like these little goblin creatures, which are called graylings. And those guys are not generally very difficult, except for like at the beginning of the game, like I'm at right now. I'm trying to get my bearings a little bit to see if I think there's any like oceans nearby. That tends to be the best thing to find in the beginning of the game. It is starting to get a little, we'll say it's getting dark yet, but when it gets dark, things get a little harder. And what I mean by that is there's kind of more wandering creatures that are a little bit tougher, and you get what's called cold unless you have a fire source. And when you're cold, your stamina, see how it's regenerates a lot slower. So just to kind of get started, I picked up some wood, not a lot, but enough that I can make a crafting table with my hammer. So what I do to see, this is what I can craft without having anything else. But if I now select my hammer and I right click, I have some new things that I can make, like a crafting table or a workbench is what they call it. So I'm going to put it down, and now all of a sudden you're going to see multiple little recipes probably pop up, because what I can now build with my hammer includes a whole bunch of things that I would use to build a little house. I can build a campfire now. This little thing, I can hang up meat on it and cook it over a fire. I can build a chest and a bed. And so all these things are very important for what I'm going to be doing. But I don't, for the stone axe, I need a little bit more wood. So I think theoretically I can maybe punch this stuff. No, see, it's just a little zero showing that it's too hard for me to just punch. Maybe it's these little trees I can punch. Yeah, I can do a little bit of damage, not a ton. But eventually I'll get the wood. This is taking a little more wood thought than I wanted to. So what I'm going to do instead, I see a couple branches laying on the ground, and because I have this turned up, just picking up 1 or 2 branches is going to give me what I need. I have to be a little careful. Normally there would be a mini-map that I could always get my bearings on and see where I created my things and where the summoning circle is. Oh, I just heard a grayling. Okay. And these guys are pretty... They're not generally very hard, but... See, I just got fists. I think I had fists before. But now that'll show up in my skill menu. So stick, cut, and moves. Right. So he's now giving me what's called resin. That is something that you use for building things and for torches. You think about like resin coming out of a tree. It's flammable and also sticky. So now that I have that, I can build. No, I don't want to do. I want to do it with here. I'm going to build a stone axe, which I can use for fighting as well as for actually chopping some wood. So before I was doing this and I was getting 0. Now I'm all of a sudden going to be able to start chopping down some wood. And that's a lot of wood from one log. I'm really glad that I did that resource increase. So with this thing here now, I'll be able to do a little bit more damage. And the damage that I'm doing is a lot of kind of complicated equations to kind of govern that. So that was 4.3, 6.1, 10.8. So you can see that there's a range, and sometimes there's combinations that'll let you do more or less. These dark trees here I can cut down. Those kind of lighter colored ones, the birch trees, these are beech trees. Those birch trees I can't cut down yet. And in the beginning, just picking up rocks on the ground is fine. Later you'll be able to get pickaxes and things to get larger amounts, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. Getting a deer at this point would have been really nice. Maybe I'll get him later. Now what's happening now is it's getting a little late. 45. I don't think that's quite enough wood for me to build a house. Maybe it is. I'm not entirely sure. Now something I think is very important is for every time I kill a tree that I need to plant a new one. Just kidding. I don't really have seeds for that in this game. Now there are ways you can plant trees. That doesn't come for a while. And the number of seeds that you get is not... oh, look at you, buddy. Somebody said something about being able to kick these guys. I don't know how to do that, though. But whacking them like that's actually pretty fun. Okay, the resin... wood. Okay, it's getting a little dark. I'm probably going to have to go build my house soon. It's not going to be anything special, but it will let me sleep through the night. And also get something called a rested bonus, which I actually am pretty dumb for not having done already. So in this game, when you're rested, your stamina gets much larger, like goes back up much quicker. I could have done that with a campfire, but I just kind of forgot about it. Now that I'm just about done getting all the wood I need, I'm not going to worry about it too much. But thing on Reddit for the Valheim community called ABR, always be rested. And I am not. And the way the rested works is you have different comforts. And for every comfort that you have, you get some number of minutes of additional rest time. So like if I just build a little campfire, that's a level 1. And with that level 1, I can, see, I think I'm at weight, yeah. I kind of got more stones than I need. I'm going to drop a few so I can get some more wood. Okay, because wood's more important to me right now. Okay, the sun's going down. I can't climb the hill because I have no stamina. You can see my little foods are starting to flash down there. So I'm going to eat another one, and now we can see I'll have a little bit more stamina as well from that. So this is just going to be a cruddy little hut. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to grab that. And let's see, make this. We'll make it like a 4x4 maybe. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I'm too close to the... Yeah, you can't be too close to the main thing there. Now, without the... Without the workbench, I can't build anything. And then when I'm close to it, I still have to, in order to build anything, I have to be within a certain distance of it. So like right now, you can see where that white line is. That's showing where the range is, where this workbench will allow me to build stuff. And the workbenches are important because they also help to prevent enemies from spawning close by. Oops. Now, if anybody watching is an actual Valheim player, you can tell that I'm not really very good at most of this stuff. I'll give myself a little door. There we go. And now when I walk, well, yeah. Probably build a second story to it. I think each of these pieces is only 2. So if I build 4 times 2, it's 8 per side, 4, 32, 64 pieces of wood. It's not too bad. But I'm also going to have to build a roof, which will be another however many. I should also build a boat so I can level out this land a little bit. Going up and down, I can build a ladder if I need to get up high. Now the roof, we will make this a steep one. The steep and shallow, it's like 45 degrees and 26 degrees. Once I have the fire inside, there's a couple ways you can deal with the smoke, because the smoke will hurt you. You can build like a chimney, or you can if the roof is high enough, the smoke just collects up in the top. And that's kind of what I'm hoping is going to happen here. I have to move right. There's some overlap there. There we go. And I could even probably leave these ends open, but then it might give me some grief about not actually being under a roof. And if you're not under a roof, you can't sleep, and if you can't sleep, then you lose out on certain bonuses and things. So I'm going to make these little things that'll... I'm going to kind of fill in these corners here. Some people are just amazing builders. You go on Reddit, people build amazing things. It's almost like in Minecraft, where people can do some just truly incredible stuff. Usually they're in builder mode when they do it, so it's kind of like a freebie thing. But some guys have managed to do it just in the regular game, and it's pretty amazing. It's starting to get dark outside, and it's starting to get a little dark in here. So I'm going to go ahead and build a fire over there so I can see, and so I can actually kind of ran out of wood already, so time to go get some more. And you saw that I had a little bit of issue right there, jumping over that thing, which is why I was talking about wanting to go home so I could level the land, so I don't get stuck on my doorway or anything, because the ground is a little bit lower than the bottom of the door. So So my skill on wood, it's already up to 9. So some of these things will go kind of quickly. I'm not cold yet, so it's not technically night. These stone axes kind of stink. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get this tree down. I think I left a little bit of wood down the road before, but I got a birch seed and some feathers. Now, I can't actually plant any seeds yet. I need something called a cultivator, which I won't be able to get until the next biome. I mean, there's ways you can cheese it, but if you're playing by the way the game should be played, or the way they want you to play it, I'm still not rested, am I? I forgot to do that again. My axe broke, so done there. I should have enough for a little bit of something. Like I said, it's not the world's best little shack here, but that'll do for tonight. Okay, let's close the door. It's almost done, but what I need to do is build a bed. Now you'll notice that my my stone hammer is flashing red in the upper left corner. And so now that I'm at a workbench under a roof, I can repair it. And anything else that I basically have. Now in the upper right corner you can see I'm rested. 11 minutes, so I've got a comfort of 4, which is why I have 11 minutes. So one comfort of 1 is 8 minutes, and each comfort level after that is another minute. So I got to 4. I'm not sure how I got to 4, actually. I know having a roof over your head gives you 3. Well, fire and a roof gives you 3. So maybe the bed gives you another one. I'm not entirely sure about that. Just to be good, complete that off. Alright, so now I've got my own little place in here. It's not the greatest thing in the world, like I said, but what I can also do at the workbench, I can build the hoe. Now you can see I've got some different options, so if I pull the hoe up, and everybody always has their own kind of like little fast key slots where you can do things. So now I can actually move the ground around a little bit. Not super great without using any stone or anything, but I can kind of flatten things a little bit. Make it a little smoother. Still not at the point where I can walk out the door the way I would want to. Sometimes you have to actually use some stone to raise the ground up to be able to do that. Or the other option, if you don't feel like actually doing it by ground leveling, is the lazy man's method, which is basically put a little stairway. It's hard to see in the dark though. See, now it's telling me I'm cold, so that's what I meant by I'll start losing stamina faster and everything. So I can claim this. I've now got a bed. And now because it's dark, I can sleep. There are no enemies nearby. It'll tell you that there's enemies nearby. Okay, so these little things, real quick though, that pop up while you sleep are actually really clear, really cool. Alright, so now it's morning. I have some food and other things. One other thing I'm going to build. No, I won't, because I don't have enough wood. I'm short 1 wood. Is a chest. That's kind of my next order of business. So day's starting. It's probably faster for me at this point to just run and cut down some smaller trees and bushes and things. And so, by doing this, I will be able to rule the world. And when you sleep, you automatically get rested, which is nice, because otherwise I'd forget. Probably doesn't seem like I'm going back that quickly with my stamina, because your rate is also determined by the foods that you have in you. And even right now, I've only had 2 of my 3 slots. In order to get the 3rd slot, what I really need to do is be able to kill animals that I can eat. Can't eat grayling, but the deer and the boars. Now they're tough. Boars are not so hard to kill. Deer are a little tougher because they're kind of easier to kill from a distance. So you can build a bow in the game, which in a game where you're trying to do a no-kill run, the bow is going to be absolutely critical. That's going to be my #1 weapon because that is the least dangerous in terms of getting killed. So I'm going to put down another little stairway here, I think, if I can. So I can go up and down. I'm going to build a chest so I can put stuff in there so I don't have to carry around lots of rock. I don't have to carry around this resin. Resin, feathers, and wood are going to be used for making like fire arrows later. I don't need any of this. I don't really need all this raspberry, but you know what? They're so light. I only have a limited capacity here, but these things only weigh a little bit, so I'm going to keep all that on me. While I'm here, I'm going to repair all my stuff. And let's see. Yeah, so you can see it's not the most tight little area, but it'll work. And then, of course, it's going to get foggy. So what I'm interested in knowing is, what do I need? Oh, see, I can't even see. I'm going to make a club. I can't even see the bow yet. You need the materials to make things in order to see how to make them. So if I need, for instance, boar scraps and deer hide, I need to have touched all of those things in order to have it pop up and say, okay, here's how you make a bow. So I've made the club. This is now going into #3. And I can potentially upgrade these things to better levels. To do that, I need what's called a level 2 workbench. And I need 5 bone fragments, which you can either get from killing skeletons or from finding them in the meadows somewhere. Right up, yeah, in the meadows, under these little stone structures. Now, another thing is the next level of workbench. I don't think I can do that either. Yeah, it would be in here to go to a level 2. There's like different items you can create and put them near the workbench, and then that tells you how to actually get to the next level. Or it doesn't tell you how, but it'll. And I forget what it is that I need. Like the next thing is like a chopping block, and you need like some flint, which you can find near rivers. And you can tell that there's going to be a lot of focus for me on getting wood, because that's going to be like the #1 resource that I need pretty early in the game. So now that I've got this guy coming, I can start working on my club skills. There's a few different damage types in the game. There's blunt damage, there's slashing damage, and there's piercing damage that different weapons are going to do, right? So blunt damage is what clubs do, and certain creatures are resistant, either resistant or vulnerable to certain types of damage. And most creatures in the game are not resistant to blunt damage, which means you only do like half damage. And several of them are actually vulnerable to clubs, which means you actually do like double damage. So that means I'm going to want to probably focus on, if I do have to do hand-to-hand combat, using clubs. Plus, a lot of the clubs will knock back enemies when you hit them. And again, for me, when you're trying to do a no-kill run, you want to make sure that you stay as far away from enemies as possible. Alright, so what I really need to do now is find some boar or deer that I might be able to sneak up on. So you can actually sneak. It uses up stamina, and I don't have a lot of stamina. But there may be deer, and if I can get close enough to the deer, I might be able to kill it anyway. But it's going to be a little bit harder to see them. Zoom in a little bit here. You can hear it. see. Now there's something I should actually maybe do. Just make a marker with the oh, there's mushrooms. With the direction of where my base is. Because it's a very good chance that I'm going to get lost. I mean, heck, I think I may have already gotten lost. This actually looks kind of close to the hill that we started on the phone. And if that's the case, then this would be up in here. Yep, there's my little thing. Now, something I can also do that might help me later if I'm getting a little stuck is I'm going to make a couple of ladders to let me get up in the roof area. It's a 45-degree roof, which makes it nice for keeping the smoke out and keeping some distance, but it does make it a little more difficult for you can't stand on it kind of stuff. Does that have to be on the land, or can I like stick a little flat thing out? I don't actually know the answer to that. Probably has to be. No, I can do this. I'm gonna put a little torch up here, and that way later on, if I'm having trouble, you know, finding that, finding the house, I might be able to find it in the dark. I can also put a little bit more resin in it, so it'll burn a little bit longer. And now what I'm gonna do, if I can remember this, is this direction, like this thing here. Whenever I pull my hammer out, is going to be pointing in the direction, this direction. So if I continue to run in that direction, I can always figure out which way to get back. It's not the greatest system, but it'll work. I heard that. It's like that little hooting noise almost, is the deer. There's a grayling and a mushroom. Right now I'm not as concerned about trees and rocks and stuff because I'm really needing to get some of those other resources that'll let me upgrade. That sound was a deer. Now sometimes you'll run into other little cabins in the world, and usually they have some sort of loot in them, but oftentimes they also have bees, which are great because then you can get the queen bee and use it to cultivate honey. Oh, 8 flint. So now there's that chopping block I was talking about. So I might, I don't think 8's enough. I think I need 15 flint in order to get the chopping block. Sometimes what you can do if you find these places right away is you can even kind of just grab put a workbench in there and make this your new house. And it'll look a little bit nicer. Now I gotta want to do this so I know which way I should be running. It's easy to get turned around. And I am going kind of far. I think the most important thing for me to know at this point is it doesn't seem like there's a ton of water in this direction anyway, which was the main thing I was kind of looking for. More mushrooms. Yeah, so many mushrooms, and that triple of the resources is making that kind of stuff so much nicer. So it looks like I'm towards a meadow, like an open meadow, right? Kind of almost like where that other thing was. And usually these are the areas where you can find board. A little stone fireplace or whatever. Now the little stone structure there is oftentimes where you find the bones underneath it. None for me, so I will not be upgrading my club anytime soon. No, I keep hearing deer, but I'm just not seeing any. This, oh. Yeah, I see the problem is he heard me. I'll be able to get a second hit in, but I'll try. Because they run at weird angles, sometimes you can cut them off at the pass. But with my stamina being so low, I think it's unlikely. Oh, there's a boar. Now those don't run away from you. They charge at you, and they try and take you out. I'll get some boar scraps. Let's see what it lets me. So I can now also make some pants. I can make the bow. Nice. Nice. A little raft, although I probably will never make one of those. But I want this other bow. See, he did a little bit of damage to me. It looks like I'm out of room a little bit. I'm going to drop a few rocks. Because I only have 300 I can use to pick stuff up. So now I think it's probably time to head back. Now I realize that this is pointing a direction, but it doesn't take into account that I've been moving laterally, so I have to be a little careful. Like, I seem to remember I actually came into the meadow over near those little fireplace things that we saw. There's some other kind of structure that was pre-built. Sometimes those have chests at the top. Just going to take a look. Nope. And that little stone structure over there, whenever I get the ability to dig, I'll actually be able to dig into those, and there's some loot in there that you can use at the traders that you might find later in the game, hopefully. That's pretty important. So I can creep up on this deer now. See, that's part of the problem, is I didn't have a good sneak. Alright, where are those? Yeah, there's the things we saw earlier. Alright, so this is probably pretty close to where we came into the meadow. I'm gonna check. Choose my directions out right now. I don't think I rotated it ever. But it is now starting to get a little bit dark. I have a good amount of wood on me. If an emergency happens, I'll be able to build a little hut. I'm going to keep my club out. It makes you run a little bit slower. I keep getting turned. The graylings will eventually stop, but boar meat is good. Scraps are good. Drop a few more of the stones. Make sure I get room for all the boar meat and scraps. Let's see, this was the one I checked before. Oh no, this one does have some. So it must be a different one. Alright, which direction am I going? This way still. But I know that I'm someplace I wasn't before. Now the fog is gone, which is nice. This means I've got a much better chance of actually finding my place. This does seem like that big hill, maybe right outside where my base is. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we've made it back. Oh, just in time. I do not feel rested anymore, so I can get my rested bonus back. And it doesn't have to be night when you fall asleep. A lot of times it can be earlier in the day. Still needs to be closer to night, kind of evening. Let's see. I come here, prepare my stuff. Now, currently I have a rag tunic, but now I can make my armor is what? If I make rag pants, that'll take 5 of my scraps, but I only have 9. So I'm not going to do that quite yet. What I am going to do is look at making a crude bow, which is going to use 8 of those 9, but this bow is infinitely more important to me than that one level of armor. My bow always goes into 5. I actually, I have resin, wood, and some feathers, so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I can't make fire arrows until I have a level 2 workbench. So I'm going to make some wood arrows. It's 20 arrows per 8 wood, so I can make 100 with one full stack of wood from my inventory. There we go, I just used that one up. And now what I need to do next is make that chopping block for 10 flint, and I have 8, so not quite enough. But I'm going to go to sleep. And then I'm probably going to call it a day. Because I think my wife is waiting for me. I thought she was going to come and get me when she was done with what she was doing, but it doesn't seem that way. So, that's going to be it for now. I'm going to save and quit. Thanks everybody for joining. I wonder if I should have some sort of a chat enabled or something. I don't even know how to do that. I'll have to figure it out. Anyway, thanks. Everybody, have a great day.